start with the cards today. This is the finishing up of the fives. And the fives are the cards of change and conflict. And the first two, which I don't have up here, which are the five of discs, or the five of pentacles of the earth, and the five of cups, which is the water. They are more about the way we meet change through a sense of feeling victimized and feeling much more hopeless and collapsed inside, rather than really being able to deal with the loss. The five of staffs, which we've already worked with before, is the one where the conflict arises. And what do? You meet the conflict with a bit of fighting. And so that's what that card is really representing. And the five of swords is kind of the aftermath of the fighting and looking at what the fighting was about and what is you could say, where did the fighting come from? And what was the initiator of that fighting? And the fighting is usually coming from some parts of us inside that are more the judge parts, the ones that victimize, that want to either blame others or blame ourselves. And so that form of fighting back through being more feisty. There's nothing wrong with any of these ways of meeting change and conflict, but you can see that they're oftentimes the ways we're talking about right now are ways to protect ourselves from the loss. And you can really see in the five of swords that there is this loss, this impending loss that is in the water. So the swords are stabbing into this place of the emotions, of the feelings.
And we can see the five of staff is much more the fire element, where our bodies and we're actually fighting more outside. And the five of swords, it's always that mental element where we're inside, really looking at internal, what's happening. And when I'm judging myself or others inside, we pick up on it through our mirror neurons. And that's often what creates. So it's hard to step back and go, how am I attacking, blaming, judging, criticizing myself and others inside?
So we'll stop this for right now and we'll begin that meditation around this. So today we're going to start with actually getting centered first before we bring in the experience of the, you could say, how the body embodies that judge. So starting with that breath again, and we can put a hand on our heart and a hand on our belly. We're just going to really do some really deep, rich, full breaths in through the legs, all the way up to the heart with the inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to let the air go all the way up through and out the top of the head, out the third eye. So deep, rich, full breaths. You can just move a little bit as you're doing this. Feel your feet on the floor as you breathe in. And then I would suggest that you breathe out through the mouth on the exhale. So we're actually doing the water breath, connecting with that water in the card. Really deep, rich, full breaths to let in that energy from the earth. And then sending it out to the cosmos, anything else we don't need right now, but connecting ourselves between the earth and the heavens. And if it helps, you can bend your knees a little as you breathe in. Feel that sturdiness in your lower body. And you're really letting that airiness come into the upper body. So the sturdiness on the inhale. Enriching that heart. And letting that airiness come, letting go of anything that's no longer needed. We're really bringing that deep, rich, full breath in through the feet, all the way up to the heart. And letting go. Couple more like that. Expand your capacity to breathe in deep, rich, full breath. And letting it out. And one more like that. And then letting yourself really find that infinity loops that is with your heart right directly in the middle of that. Imagine that the infinity loop is really on the sides, or you can do it in the front and the back of your body, however you want to do it, but it's that sense of just breathing in and letting the heart be right in the middle of all the action. With this wonderful swaying is really allowing us to come into a sense of real wholeness. Letting go of anything that's no longer needed right now, asking the parts that are agitated to just step aside and take a place in our hearts, because our hearts are really, they're in the center. So if there's any concerns that you have, or worries, any fighting going on right now, any fleeing, any parts of us that want to get out of here, just let them know that they can have a place in your heart. Deeply breathing in, giving them refuge, and letting go. And as we make this space in our hearts to just allow all these parts in, all these different reactions that we have, nothing's bad, letting them all know we see them and there's nothing wrong with them. Being curious about that, what inside of ourselves is at the root of some of the conflicts that occur around us. You may remember back to a little spat, or somebody not understanding you, or you not understanding somebody else, just recently that might have happened. Whether it's with your family or friends, or an email that came that you didn't like, or whatever it happens to be. Just remember back to that moment as you're breathing deeply, continuing to let that wonderful infinity loop happen in your body, and asking the question, what inside of me, what kind of judgments that are happening inside of me towards myself or towards others that create conflict? And just listen to the words. Listen to the words that come. Don't have to wind the story around them, but just hear some of the words, the way they impact you, the way you feel them when you say them. Because today we're going to feel the feelings that are connected to the judge, and how these feelings get wound into all these storylines, all these defensive maneuvers by the mind world. So just feel into those words. so now, hopefully you have just a few words, you have a few of a sense of that judge and how it either attacks you or attacks another person. And we're all one and the same, so it's not better one way or the other way. Some of us, it's easier to claim how we judge ourselves, and other people, it's, it's easier to find how we judge others, but it's all part of the one. The one attempt to create some kind of distance from change and conflict. So now we're going to begin to breathe that fire breath in through the mouth, out through the nose. Build up a little bit of energy in the body. This is really kind of starting with the 5 of staves, the card I showed you before, the fighting card, in order to get to this. And as we do that, we're going to begin to feel what's it like in our bodies to just create some fists. So create some fists. We can do it with our feet. We can feel the way we can scrunch our feet up. Begin to get a little tense. And we're going to do some actions. And feel into how these actions might feel like the judge, our judge inside, because each of our judges are a little different. So we're going to start with a punch, and don't do it to hurt yourself, but let that foot come up and punch the floor, punch the air. Do those punches out to the side, out to the front, breathing in and punching. Letting yourself just feel. You can punch with your hands and your arms, all the air all around. Legs, punch out with those hips. One more good punch. And now we're going to change that, and we're going to go into a press. Slowly pushing down with our feet, our hands, our whole body. As we breathe the fire breath. We're pushing down. I kind of think of this as the squash method. The judge wants to squash everything in his path. Like, don't say that. The punch is more like, I want to hurt you. And this is more like, just be quiet. That's a whole body press. One more big press. Now we're going to come back to some quickness again. We're going to do a splash. The slashing is, and it tear you up. Slash with your legs, with your arms. Get out of my way. It reminds me of kind of a tantruming child. I can't get close to this, kind of like, no, gotta get out of my way. One more good splash. And now we're going to come to ringing. So ringing is like kind of Squeeze it out of you. There's nothing left. Bring that body as though it's like a cow. You can bring your legs together. Your arms. Like a pretzel. Like I have to do all these, being told you have to do all these different things and there's no room left at all. This one wants to really almost manipulate you like a doll. One more ring. Now, remembering the movements again, the punch. Oh, that's really like, that's when you take a word and it's really hits home. It makes you feel terrible, or it makes somebody else feel terrible. That's that kind of feeling. And then there's the pressing. Pressing is like, to me, like the squeeze, like there's no room left for you. You are becoming smaller and smaller. It's very similar to the ringing.
Don't move.
Don't move. Yeah. You don't get a voice. And then there's the slashing, which is really kind of like taking, it's kind of like a kamikaze. It's like there's no, it's coming from all directions, everywhere. You can't get out. It's like there's a sense of just total chaos. And then there's the ringing, that squeeze out. So find which one of those that feels the most like how you experienced the judge today. Which one really resonates for you? Take that movement, and then we're going to start breathing with it. So take that movement, whatever it happens to be, if it's the punch or the press or the slash or the ringing, and begin to just do it. And as you're doing it, you're breathing with it. You don't do it in a way that's going to hurt you. Do it in a way that you can sustain it and feel okay about it. Continue to breathe that fire breath. And now, change it. Change the breath to the air breath. And slow down the movement, even if you're doing a fast movement, to breathing in through the mouth, breathing out through the mouth. We're bringing in more air. Let more air come into the movement. Slowing it down even more. So the movement becomes almost like a Tai Chi exercise. Can you move slow enough? And from this place where you begin to feel just the gentle movements happening, they're not so harsh anymore. They've become more of like a Tai Chi place. Begin to let yourself come into that center line of your heart and fight the judge in. And imagine for a moment that you're dancing with the judge. You're having your own Tai Chi lesson, learning the power behind all of this energy called the judge. Continuing to breathe deep, rich, full breaths as air in and out through the mouth. Letting the stories go. Letting the thoughts float down from the top of your head. Just like sifting through sand. The thoughts are sifting down as you do these Tai Chi movements from the top of your head. Down to maybe the middle of your head now. All the way down to your throat. Down through your shoulders and your upper chest. Down through your middle of your arms and the middle of your chest. Down through your wrists, all the way down into your wrists and in your waist of your body, of your torso. Breathing those thoughts, continually letting them flow from the top of your head all the way down to your wrists and your waist. As you Tai Chi with them without knowing any Tai Chi, you can just let the movement you chose be your Tai Chi lesson. And now let them, the thoughts that have come down your arms, let them just fall off your fingertips and fall to the ground. To be absorbed by the earth. And then let the ones that are in your waist come all the way down to the tip of your coccyx. And your whole pelvis area. And the ones that have accumulated all the way down your spine at the tip of your coccyx, let them again just fade into the earth. Be given back to the earth. All of your thoughts, they can be recycled. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just doing Tai Chi with our judge. And then those that are in your pelvis, let them slowly come down through your thighs. Into your knees. All those thoughts from the top of your head, all the way down now, they come out your hands, your fingers, they come out your coccyx, and the rest that are there are in your knees, slowly migrating down into your shins and calves. Your wonderful ankles. And the feet. Let every last thought, all the brain waves moving all the time, breathe them down all the way to the bottoms of your feet. As we Tai Chi with the judge. And then let them come out the soles of your feet, connecting again to the earth. Let the earth receive all of our thoughts. And from this place, feeling our feet on the ground, let's find a place to sit.
Your breath, continue in whatever breath, earth, water, air, fire, whatever breath you want, in and out of your heart. On the left side, imagine your chest soft and porous as you just breathe in and out of the sacred space of your heart. As you breathe in and out, really allow the sacred space of your heart to take shape or form. Perhaps some place of nourishment, of peace, of meeting, of renewal from the past, or a dream, someplace you've read about, or from your childhood. But just really whether you see, smell, taste, feel, just really allowing yourself to just keep bringing your loving attention to the sacred space of your heart in whatever way it comes to you today. And as you continue to drop into your heart, inviting any cells that are busy or distracted or collapsed, just inviting them into the sacred space of your heart, inviting them to rest, to relax. That mental judge can be here, who you were dancing with, who you were meeting, rather than running you. And right now, just really getting familiar. And as you do this, just continue to deepen into the sacred space of your heart. Now just listen to this invocation. We invoke the one whose body is the cosmos of the galaxies and our own body, whose mind courses through our thinking, and whose ecstasy arouses our acts of glorification, whose personality is customized as our personalities, whose presence is always here, whose consciousness is focalized as our consciousness, and whose reality is beyond our mind's reach. As you continue to breathe in and out of your heart, with all love and all respect, welcoming in high self, this place of inner guidance, wisdom, clarity, courage. This place is larger, that sometimes we meet in dreams, is this inner place of guidance, or the angel of our being, or a wise being, or an animal ally, in whatever shape, form, sensory way, or whether you feel this field of presence of being held, whatever way high self comes to you today, just opening to this larger field of love, light, life, guidance. And just starting with the time of communion, breathing the energy, the quality of high self into you as conscious self, and breathing back just love and gratitude, letting this infinity loop happen between the relationship between you and the mystery in the form of high self, breathing back gratitude and receiving the blessing. I'm just asking any self to step aside, especially the judge. We'll get to you in a few moments, but it's important to just charge up with the presence of high self, to really be held and supported by this larger field. And we open to any guidance for these cards, the Five of Staffs, but especially the Five of Swords today. And just any reflections we have so far, any guidance on how to hold, how to meet the conflict that happens in our outer lives, but especially the conflict that happens in our inner lives that's behind that outer conflict. Help us understand how we can come to recognize this more clearly, how we can begin to hold this gently, how we can begin to work with our inner conflict, especially our inner judge. So we welcome any guidance from you, beloved high self. When I meet the fire of this inner conflict, and how can I integrate, befriend, transform it? Continuing to just feel the support of high self. With love and respect, calling in one of the mental judges who showed up, whether this one was punching or slashing or pressing down or twisting, feeling that action that this judge does towards others, but especially how this judge does that towards you. As we learn to really separate, to stand up and meet the judge, to understand the judge, then as we befriend the judge, then oftentimes a lot of our outer conflicts relax too. So we welcome you, judge. Just take a moment to really meet the judge. Know you have the support of high self. Any selves that might be scared, we can go if you need to a special room to meet the judge. So any parts that are scared and been victimized by the judge can be safe. So imagine going into a safe place in your heart, in the garden of the heart, sacred temple of the heart, to meet your judge. And just letting all the other parts know they're safe. It's okay for you to meet and get curious about this judge. First of all, just feeling this judge in your body, every one of those movements that Yaya so beautifully described. You can just imagine it or embody it a little bit if you want, the body, where it is, what this movement is. Just checking to make sure that this isn't somebody else's energy. If it is, just allowing it to go back to them. But if this is your judge, know that it's some protective function. Although you may not understand it, all the other selves may not understand it. Sometimes when my judge squishes me down, it was trying to keep me small and out of the way to avoid being criticized or punished. As much as other parts wanted to be seen, the judge was trying in its own way to keep me safe. Just open to that as a possibility, because we all just want to get rid of the judge. But so much of our instinctual life energy is fire is used in the judge against us. And it was used against us for certain reasons at a certain time in our life. As you feel this judge in your body, just notice how you feel. If you could be a little bit curious, a little bit wanting to understand this judge. If any parts block that, just letting them leave this sacred room where you're meeting the judge, where they can be safe. And we really letting the judge know you're a little curious. You want to know about him, her, they, them. You want to know about them, their story. Just get curious. Give them a little time to just talk about themselves, what they do, what they see as their role. Just be curious. It's like my judge who tries to make me do everything perfect so things will be better. And make sure the judge knows that you're here, this wonderful, mature, adult, conscious self being with the support of high self. Not just all these little ones. The judge is often an adult child. Really ask the judge what their role is again, what they see as their job. And what they're afraid, you can ask them what they're afraid would happen if they weren't doing this. Really let the judge know you're here with high self. There are other selves that can help, but just for today, letting the judge know they're not alone. They may have been alone when they took on this job and were facing whatever circumstances they did, but they're not alone now. There are a lot of other people in the inner family to manage the outer life, especially you and the support of high self. And let them know that as they befriend that inner family, as they realize that inner support, there's also outer support in the way there may not have been before. This outer support gathered right here. Let them really notice the inner and the outer support, with eyes open or closed of those gathered in this Zoom meeting. And all those who join us at different places in space and time. Just let your judge know there may be new possibilities in terms of interconnection, interbeing, intersupport that weren't a long time ago. And the judge really had to isolate, cut us off by making us small or judging others and pushing them away. I really thank you for how hard you work. Just take a moment to invite the judge to enter into the breath of unity with you, with high self. And we'll close our soul work just listening or saying the goddess chant if you know it. To your, from the high self, from conscious self to the judge, to all the selves, letting them all remember everything lost is found again in a new form, in a new way. Everything hurt is healed again in a new time, in a new day. Change is, touch is, touch is, change is. Change us, touch us, touch us, change us, change us, touch us, touch us, change us. And take a moment to just, whether you sit in silence and reflect on your soul work journey, what you experienced today, from meeting the card, to embodying that energy, to meeting the judge and working with it. You can write or draw anything if you wish, or just reflect in silence or stretch. Whatever you need to do for a moment of reflection. Like a dream of soul work, we want to reflect so it doesn't fade away.